Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, clickbaity political. Yeah, thirst trap, trap squad, squirrel squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. Yeah. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard. Every single weeknight. Unapologetic. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent clickbaity. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad, throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad, yeah I see you, yeah I see you. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, Thirsttrap, trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad, throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad, yeah I see you, yeah I see you. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, Thirsttrap, trap squad, trap squad, trap squad, trap squad.
All right.
Yo.
Welcome one and all to another episode of Clickbaity Political Thirsttrap. I am one of your three hosts, Marcus Farrell, coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. And we have a Pastor Benjamin Dixon and also Mayor Mondale Robinson. And Mondale is traveling right now, so that's not his, that's not him close up of him. It's actually he's in the dark. Sometimes I know you you dark-skinned brothers, you know how it goes sometimes. But Mondale, Mayor Mondale, man, how you doing, man? I hope you're traveling safely.
Yeah, man, I'm just coming back from a town meeting, bro. Headed back to somewhere that's safe. And we're talking about how the meeting went and some of the stuff I was dealing with that I think people take for granted. I'm gonna send you guys. I'm gonna email y'all real quick, Ben. I'm actually gonna text you, you and Marcus, this email that I got from somebody that I want y'all to show people what I'm dealing with, and then I'm gonna couple it with something else. But yeah, I'm good, brother. Traveling safe, and it's good to be on the show with y'all.
Hey, Mondale, real quick before you get started, Ben. You never told us about our opportunity. Don't be teasing us with stuff that don't finish out.
That part. I'm doing this. I'm rereading the Bible. Guys, and I'm trying to finish it in 6 months. I'm at the part where Jacob is showing his patience. Okay. All right, y'all with me? Y'all with me?
Yeah, we with you, man.
Amen.
Yeah, I'm with this comment right here. Don't text and drive, Mondale. So before you send me that email, pull over and send me that email.
I'm gonna have to pull over to a stopping point before I do that.
All right.
Also, people need to get updated phones that you can talk to, so I can talk to my phone and it'll do things for me.
Oh, I just gotta get a phone. So, but I'm with you. Marcus, how you doing, man? I got you got the fresh man. You keep the high top, like make a bald man jealous.
Hey man, listen, this is what's going on with it, right? So my plan is to do something with my hair when I get a little bit like further down the road. So I don't know if I'm gonna lock it up. I don't know if I'm gonna twist it up, right? But all I know is that I'm gonna do something with it that's a little bit more Afrocentric. More than, even though the high top is Afrocentric, like I'm still gonna do something with it. Also, I just wanted to announce something real quick. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna announce that I have a very big announcement coming up on the next Clickbaity Political Thirsttrap.
Okay.
I think everybody who knows me is gonna be very excited about this announcement. I had a great weekend, fellas. Flight attendant and accountant, and also I went flying myself for my third lesson. So, it's been a pretty cool weekend. Cleaned up some trash around my room, and this will be the second. Next week will be the last episode of Marcus being in the hotel room for Clickbaity Political Thirsttrap, because I have officially, they're on the last stages of fixing my house. So I'll be home real soon.
Nice. Congratulations on that.
Oh, man, you don't know how much I need it, bro. Mondale, Ben, let me tell you something. Squirrel Gang, listen, it's been an arduous situation being in a hotel for almost 4 months and not being able to be in your space that you created for yourself. The house looks completely different. Like completely different. So the next time I film from there, it's going to actually look like a completely different setup for the podcast. And I got some other things going on digitally that I'm going to talk about next week. But Ben Dixon.
Hey man, ain't nothing going on but the rent, man. I'm just out here minding my business, keeping my head low, just trying to do the Lord's work and whatnot. So it's good to be with y'all. I think Mundell dropped off for a second. Do you need me to put you back on, Mundell? Let me know. But yeah, man, it's good to see. It's good to hear that you're gonna get back into I can't imagine, man. I think the hotel life is cool for like the first 2 weeks, maybe.
Not even that. Like 1 week and 1 day.
And then after that, you like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, it's and plus this I've been through like a whole bunch of stuff here in this hotel. So now I'm just ready to like get back to my, my space. But like I'm in good, man, listen, I'm in amazing spirits, bro. Like it's 2025 has been pretty cool so far, man. Is something going on with your microphone?
Me?
Ben, we can't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you, Ben. It got muffled up a little bit.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. The question is, Marcus, with all these cannabis companies now shipping nationwide with the THCA loophole, will you be doing the same?
Probably not. Probably. So I am in the process of selling my dispensary right now in Chicago, and I'm also in the process of acquiring 2 more. Okay. In the Northeast, right? So here's the thing about THCA, if I may, just for a second, pontificate. THCA is a derivative of cannabis, and it does have the same, some of the same medical properties as THC. The issue is that it's a derivative. It's not the basic THC that you're used to smoking. It is a legalized form, and it does have the same properties. But on the same token, that's why they have federally, allowed it to cross state lines. But as it stands right now, THC is still illegal, right? So I can't take something from Colorado and legally sell it in Florida or in Georgia until it becomes descheduled, which the Biden administration should have done, and they did not do. But here's the amazing part about it. I want everybody to know this. This is some advice for everybody who's watching who wants to get into the cannabis industry. Once it will be descheduled, and I believe that Trump is probably going to do it just because there's a lot of white people who are making a lot of money off of cannabis right now, and it's starting to become a major lobby in DC. So what's going to happen is there's going to be opportunities for licenses, and more importantly, there's going to be opportunities for ancillary services dealing with cannabis. For instance, if you're a trucker, you're going to be able to get a certain license to transport cannabis from point A to point B. If you have any dealings with science, they're going to need testers all across the nation. And of course, if you want to be a bud tender or a delivery driver or Uber Eats driver for cannabis, then that's also going to be a situation that happens. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for cannabis coming up here in the near future.
Nice. Mondale, you about to jump in there?
I had a question for Marcus. You said you can't sell it across state lines. Can you gift it? Like somebody buy a $200 T-shirt and you give it to them as a gift?
No, that is what they do in Washington D.C. right? In D.C., it's a federal place, right? You can't since D.C. is a federal city, right? Like it's governed by the federal government.
The district.
That means the district. That means it's not scheduled, right? So what happens is the way they get around that is DC has allowed the gifting of, when you go into a dispensary in DC, you're not buying cannabis, you're buying a gift, you're buying something else, and cannabis comes with it, right? And also, like, the feds can still arrest you if they were interested in it, but there's no federal policing force. So the DC Metropolitan Police and DC has created an opportunity for people to get cannabis. But here's the thing: real THC, basic cannabis, cannot cross state lines at all.
Got you.
It's good to know.
What if it's 2 states? Well, that's still federal. It becomes
Yep.
federal when you cross state lines. I was about to say, what if it's 2 states that neighbor that both are marijuana is legal, but it wouldn't change it? Yeah.
It's the same situation, right? So,
yeah, interstate compact. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. Like Nevada and California are both legal, right?
Right.
But you can't cross cannabis. You can't cross cannabis. You can't take cannabis legally from Nevada to California, right? So if you take cannabis, that's why when you have a cannabis license, you have to grow cannabis in the state. It has to be produced in the state, manufactured in the state, and also sold in the state. So if you want to take your cannabis and turn it into an oil, that product has to happen in the state. Guys, this is why there's so much money in cannabis for people who can afford it, because you literally get paid off of every entity that you have, right? So if you're a grower, even though the grow market has crashed and it's slowly coming back, right? You can grow cannabis, you can process it and turn it into oils or flowers or candy or a bakery, right? And then you can sell it in each one of those processes to make a lot of money. But in each one of these states, you need to have a specific license for each one of the things that you do.
Well, I'll say it, and let me know if my mic goes out anymore. But, cannabis, man. Look, I live kind of at a pretty steady state of pain, and so one thing I know about that medicinal cannabis is that it really does do what they say it do, man. It really just helps with the overall pain. It would be interesting to see if, with all the Christian nationalism and Project 2025, if Trump actually moves in that direction. Like it seems like they're moving the opposite direction.
Well, listen, here's my viewpoint on that. So Trump is going to Trump, right? And as you can tell already, like in the state of Florida, Republicans are starting to bump heads with each other, right? It is what it is. I think Trump is going to mess up real bad, right? I do. Like, I think he's going to do something that just takes it a step too far. And I think that he's going to want to own the legalization of cannabis. And considering that lobbying for cannabis now is close to becoming $1 billion industry on its own, right? That means that these cannabis guys, the Curaleafs, all the cannabis companies, they all have a firm in DC. And when legalization happens, it all benefits a bunch of wealthy people, just like in any other industry across American scope of politics. It's going to benefit a lot of people who have money. So people who have money spend money to make laws so they can make more money. And I guarantee you that if Trump sees money in it for other rich people, then he's going to do it.
I also see that a lot of agencies, organizations like Big Tobacco, and a lot of large farmers are buying up a lot of land in preparation for when they do deschedule marijuana. So that those influences are coming. I just got a flash on my phone, guys. If I was at my computer, I'd be able to tell you what's going on. But apparently, Trump just did something else illegal. He just offered federal employees a ultimatum. Basically, you can resign and get 8 months of salary. So I don't know I just saw it flash across my phone. I can't really tell what's going on. I definitely want to make sure that we take a look at that when we get into the news. But Ben and Marcus, I sent you guys in Twitter. On Twitter, I sent you all an email. That email I was talking about, so people can see what we're dealing with in Trump's America.
All right, I'll take a look at that now. And while we do that, I have this first clip on the screen ready for you. Whenever you're ready, Doc. This is Donald. Let's start here with this clip you sent us earlier, Marcus. This is Donald Trump, and I believe in this clip he's talking about the 14th Amendment. Listen to this one.
Citizenship or automatic citizenship for the children of illegal aliens. That's another way. It's automatic citizenship for children of illegal aliens. That's the other term that they use, which is actually more accurate, more understandable. And it's ridiculous. We're the only country that has it, and certainly the only country that has it to that extent. And it wasn't meant, if you look, it was really meant for children of slaves. This is when it happened. The children of slaves, it was not meant for everyone to come into our country by airplane or charging across the borders from all over the world and think they're going to become citizens. It's not meant for that. It wasn't meant for that. And hopefully at some point the courts will understand that without having to go through a whole big deal. This was meant for the children of slaves. And look at the timing of it and you'll see. And I hope judges will understand that. And it has to stop because it's really hurting our country very badly. We are fighting hard to get birthright citizenship or automatic citizenship for the children of illegal aliens. That's another way. It's automatic.
All right, there it is. About the 14th Amendment, and he's talking about birthright citizenship. Marcus, you sent us this clip. Of course, I mean, this is big news happening today. So we should definitely be talking about it and seeing it. What are your thoughts, man?
Tyreek needs to shut up. And I just want to point out that Ann Coulter and Tyreek Hill are vibing, right? Not really understanding how I feel about that, but here's the big thing, and I just wanted to bring this part up, man. I wish I could go back in history, and then there was a Native American, Aboriginal American version of Trump in every single tribe. So as soon as that white man came over here and decided it would have been bows and arrows, and New York City would still be an island. Don't ever make that trade, Native American family, Indigenous American family members. But like I saw something on the internet recently that kind of stuck with me, and that was the conversation around the empathy of Americans, right? And also who's going to work some of these jobs that these folks are thinking about. I know personally in my life, and I don't want to even talk too much about this because, I don't want nobody messing up what I got going on. But I just think about the white Southern Construction Company business owners. They don't have any white people working for them. They don't have any black people working for them. They have immigrants and undocumented labor working for them. And I think they're biting off a lot more than they can chew with some of the mentality that they have right now. Now, there should be more of a pathway of citizenship. To me, I think it should be easier, right? But on the same token, we are at a place right now where the people who came and conquered this land from Native Americans are now telling people who look like Native Americans, now telling people who cousins and family lineage in Texas are right across the street in Mexico, that they can't come home and see their people. And the more that I think about it, the more frustrated I get. Now, do we have immigration issues in America? Yes, we do. I'm not taking away from the fact that that some of these immigration policies that put put displaced immigration folks in Southside Chicago in black neighborhoods. The American government is trying to play us against each other, right? And that is very problematic. And here's the thing, that's the Biden administration. The Democrats did that. So
no, they didn't.
Well, hold on. There are definitely Democrats that chose what neighborhood they went to locally, in like the mayor of Chicago and the places that we were going to actually put these people. We're going to undo those schools, and yes, that did happen, right? So, like, it's what I'm saying is there's two groups of people right here who I think are approaching this thing the wrong way, right? There's going to be people hurt on both sides of the aisle, and they don't realize it yet because they're more about rhetoric than they are about actually fixing the issue.
Go ahead, Mondale.
Man, listen, I'm not even going to let Republicans off the limit. There's no policies that brought immigrants from the border and put them on cold streets. Those are just Republican nasty governors, one in Florida and one in Texas. And we need to own that. We don't need to own it. We need to articulate that very clearly. So when these people arrived, when these kidnapped people arrived to Chicago and New York, those people that were in charge of that city had a decision to make. Do we let these people freeze, or do we find places for them to be treated humanely? And I think we can't skip the number one, what started the ball to roll, and that's Greg Abbott with his nastiness, that putting barbed wire in water, and or him busing people using taxpayer dollars, to send people to different cities and states. And I think those are the problems we got. And I would go a step further and say, I don't know if we have an immigration problem. I would say our only immigration problem is we let too many white people in the country unchecked, and we don't treat our northern border like we treat our southern border.
Listen.
White, if we're being honest about the history of violence and who is capable of violence and what type of violence, white people in America are unmatched. And I'm not talking about all of them, but which other people enslaved an entire race of folk? Which other people passed laws to prevent Chinese people from coming with the Exclusionary Act, and then using hemp and marijuana as a way to keep brown people from coming here? America is as white as it is because of racist immigration policies that benefited white people. So if we have an immigration problem, it's not because of the southern border. I think we need more brown and black people coming into this country to make up for all the hundreds of years that we weren't able to travel and come here and immigrate here freely. Those are the problems I think we're not really addressing. If we start from the footing that the problem is at the southern border, then we already gave them too much ground, because the southern border should be, if you ask me, more open than it is. And then we have Marines at the border building a fence using so-called FEMA money, because Donald Trump said it's an emergency. Now we got Marines building walls, and that so-called Mexico was going to pay for in the Trump's first administration. And people are smiling and supporting this, but not realizing the harm that we are doing, one, by displacing displacing military members, putting them at the border, people, and then also some of them are being armed, and military is not trained to deal with American citizens, not interact and police American citizens. We're trained to interact and be violent against combat opposition. And I think when people sit down and sit still before we get to the other executive orders that are doing crazy harm, like the one that a judge put a stop to around the federal aid. But when we just sit back and look at what Trump is doing with our military, I don't think people understand what it means to have troops deployed. The 80s, we're not doing any run-of-the-mill units. He took the 82nd Airborne and he's deploying them to the southern border. These are the most trained units for combat, and you're sending them to the border. You're doing this intentionally. You're sending units of Marines that are being deployed, and then you have their commanders saying, "We will treat this as if it's any other deployment to any other combat zone." We need an immigration policy that is more humane, that lets more people and give more access to citizenship to people. And we damn sure need to get back to the time where coming across this border was the only way you could get asylum. And we need to stop locking people out from asylum, forcing them into deserts and other places that are in danger, and putting them in the hands of the cartel.
That's right. That's right. I agree. Listen, I think y'all both are hitting on some key things. Let me bring back up exactly how you sent it to me, Marcus, because I think that's critical. Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter is a demon. She is possessed with a demon. She is a demon. She is a white Christian devil who is trying to and working with Tariq Nasheed, who, by the way, is a coward.
It's a black demon.
I just want to show Tariq Nasheed is a coward who's still hiding behind a block from me. You crusty, ashy Negro working with white supremacy, dividing the diaspora. I just want to put that on the record. But when you see this white Christian devil, Ann Coulter, amplifying Tariq Nasheed, and what they're amplifying around this idea that has made a whole lot of ADOS and a lot of FBA, so-called Foundational Black American, which, by the way, is a trademark that's held by Tariq Nasheed. It is a marketing and a merchandising trademark that this man owns.
Wow.
When you see this happening, you got to know full well who's working against black folks. Tariq Nasheed. He's working to divide and conquer the diaspora, but he's also doing the bidding of white folks. Which bidding specifically? It has always been the historical case that the rich white man has told the poor white man that the black man is the problem. Right now, what are they doing? Rich white folks are using poor black folks, putting some money in their hands to tell everybody that the immigrant is the problem. The immigrant is not the reason your wages are low. Capitalism is the reason your wages are low. The immigrants are not the reason your rent is high. Greed is the reason your wages are high. And they have us targeting. I don't mean to go so heavy. I know it's a long show to go. Y'all notice who they're not deporting? They're not deporting those immigrants who literally exploit our communities. Which ones? The ones that own all the beauty supply stores. The ones that own all the chicken wing spots in your neighborhood. All those good tasting chicken wings we get from the Arabs. They're not deporting them. Those are the folks who come to our community and take the wealth out of our community, providing services to us that we can provide for ourselves. None of them are being deported. Who are they deporting? The absolute poorest immigrants who have no power, who have no influence, who have no sway over your community, except the fact that, coming full circle, they shipped them to Chicago from Texas, Greg Abbott, and they forced them into a situation where they ended up in black communities. But if you're going to talk about anything, you got to start at the source, which is the white supremacy that sent them up there in the first place.
Listen, and on top of that, they start talking about DEI at the same time.
Come on.
Why they picking on white women like that so much? Like, here's what I want to point out real quick. White women benefit off of DEI more than anyone else, but I just want to point this out, not in a negative or a positive way. I just want to point this out. If someone is targeting you and you still manage to vote for them once every 4 years, then who is the problem here? Now, white women are literally supporting this DEI initiative, not realizing that they are being targeted themselves, right? My issue with the whole Trump administration right now is not even binary. It's more so just fluid. As more things come out, as more initiatives and more things that he does come out, I want the Republican Party to I want us to be able to hold the Republican Party accountable in a real way, and also be able to point out, like we talked about last week, to different constituencies within the Republican Party base also, that these are the things that are affecting you. Be able to articulate it, right? Be able to say that these things are affecting you, so they do get less votes, so they do get less popularity, so they do get less support at a high level. But the issue is, we need to be able to do this, and we need to be able to do it right now. And we don't need to be so reactionary, in my opinion. I think that we need to start having some foresight, and knowing that a lot of things are about to come down, and having a creative way of going against the Trump administration from doing things that hurt our community. That's it.
Facts. Brother Mundell, I got your email. And my question before I share it is, do I need to blur out anybody's email address?
No, it's public information. The one email from something like Municipal Impacts is the fake email that sent that.
Okay, I'm gonna bring it up on the screen here because I think this is a good place as any to talk about this. On the screen is an email to Mayor Mundell Robinson from S. Williams.
No. S. Williams received it. That's my county. That's my town clerk.
Okay.
The other email sent it to her about me. She's the town clerk.
Got it. So the municipal clerk, S. Williams, forward this to you so that you can see what we're dealing with. And here's a title of it: Mayor is an N-word. From Dan Hader, right? Obviously a fake email. Really straight up and forward. The mayor is an N-word. F that dirty, dumb N-word mayor. What's going on, Doc? Tell us about this.
So last week I told you guys about the death threat when I walked out of the meeting, and I had to share my location with you guys, because when I left the meeting, the white woman told me, "Hope you don't get killed," or "Pray you don't get shot," or something like that, to that effect. So yeah, this is just a continuation. So we are fighting rich white people trying to control a majority black county. Now they're trying to prevent the town of Enfield from being energy independent, meaning taking ourselves off of electricity, generating enough solar energy to power our entire town is what I'm trying to do right now. But they are allowing the interest of a couple hunters, rich white people who hunt, who are upset that solar farms are popping up. They did a moratorium in November in the county of Halifax. So I went and told them how stupid and backwards this was. And when we got up there and we were arguing, these people were arguing with their feelings and I was giving facts. And I guess it pissed off the white people. So now I'm back to dealing with, people harassing town employees with emails like this and such. So this is just one of them, one of the many that I wanted to show y'all what we're dealing with, what I'm dealing with constantly, not just the death threats, but also the bigotry.
Mondale, I'm gonna, I think you know this, so let me preface this statement by saying, brother, make sure I know what you do to keep yourself safe, so make sure that you keep yourself safe as possible during this fight, right? I also have to say this right here. Y'all really don't scare nobody. Y'all don't scare Mondale. Y'all don't scare Ben. Y'all don't scare me.
Period.
Because if you're going to say it with your chest.
Say it with a real email at least.
Say it with a real email, you coward. Y'all think the N-word, y'all think nigga, y'all think that word right now in the year of our Lord 2025 is going to stop us from doing what we need to do? You out your mind. No matter what Elon got y'all thinking online. No matter what these people on Twitter, X, and everywhere else that are deregulating their platform to allow hate speech happens. You cowards really think that y'all gonna stop us? Listen, if we make it out our own neighborhood, you think white folks are gonna stop us from doing something? You out your mind. Y'all created a system where we can have to, almost most of our neighborhoods in America are oppressed in certain ways. We have natural poverty that we have to beat. We have natural health care issues, like born with high blood pressure tendencies, and being able to just have an adequate education system that we have. Y'all take funding away from our schools. Y'all make sure that our health care is horrible. You also decide to pick and choose whether we can have wealth or not on a systematic level. And you think the N-word is going to bother us? Bruh, let me tell you something. The N-word is how you treat us already. Y'all can't beat us no more. Brother Mondale has a plan for a city, and guess what's going to happen? No matter what y'all do, it's going to happen. No matter what Ben does, no matter what y'all say to Ben, he's going to keep speaking the truth. And when it comes down to mind devils, you already know. I ain't scared of now one of y'all. But don't be a coward. Mondale, I hope that didn't put you in danger, but that's just the truth of the statement, man.
Let me say this real quick. I keep bringing this one up from Nayeri's Noble. Black men should go to support this mayor. Mayor, just say the word. I agree. I think black men and women and gender nonconforming individuals should show up and make sure we know what the gun rights laws are in the city and in the state. But those who are lawfully allowed to carry, I think at certain points there needs to be a show of solidarity and a show of fearlessness, especially if this continues to escalate. So we're underneath your leadership and your guidance as to when the time is right. We don't want to move too soon because we don't want to move and provoke it. But at the same time, when you feel like there needs to be a show of solidarity and force, I think people need to come to your city and show them we're not scared of them. And I think we also need to financially support you to support and make sure that you always have security with you wherever you go. Did we lose the mayor?
He might be in a dead zone.
Oh, he's back. He's back on a different line. Hang on, let me add him here.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you now. Go ahead, Doc.
Sorry about that. Ben, I dropped when you said something about black men and non-gender conforming people.
Oh man, you missed the whole thing. I'll say it again real short. I said that we need to come up there and show support for you, and we need to show support in numbers, and that we need to be there at your command. You tell us when, because we don't want to provoke, but at the same time, we don't want to wait too long and they get comfortable with sending you threats like this. So you should say the word when we need to start showing up in the city, and then that's number one. But for the long run, I think we need to be sending some support to you financially to make sure that you could always be traveling with security.
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. You know, we're intentional about our safety. When I say we, I'm talking about my wife and I, and so much so my wife don't even go to town meetings anymore, bro. You know, we got the death threats got so serious this year that we had to, or last year, that we had to stop my wife from traveling by herself, even going to places like her family's house. So yeah, I mean, Marcus said something that's real. There's no fear. There's no fear. But fear, you know, throwing fear to the wind, we don't let caution aside.
That's right.
All right,
if I go ahead, bro.
Mondale, if I may, real quick, I think this is important. Brothers in Alabama, Arizona, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Missouri, Ohio, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia, if you own a valid, legal gun permit, the state of North Carolina has reciprocity with your state. So what does that mean? As a gun owner in Georgia who has a legal and valid gun owner's license, I can legally carry in Georgia. I mean, I can legally carry in North Carolina. And also, I want to add on one thing. North Carolina honors concealed carry permits from states that have a reciprocal agreement with it. The list of states can change, but it's essential to check the North Carolina Department of Justice website. Now, I just want to point out one thing real quick, brothers and sisters. The stand your ground law in North Carolina has a stand your ground law, which allows individuals to use force, including deadly force, in self-defense without duty to retreat if they believe they were in imminent danger. Now, I do understand we are black men, and that law is not meant for us, but I do also want to point out that we don't have to sit back in fear if we organize.
That's
we
right.
just don't.
That's right. Brother Mondale, go ahead.
Yeah. So, and I think, you know, you know, and it's 2025, right? And I was just sitting back listening to Marcus. He said something that was very powerful. That law was not meant for us. And the state of North Carolina showed me that, you know, they don't really care. Like when the death threat started, they didn't investigate. It was over a year, and I had to go on national TV to shame the state to start an SBI investigation into the people who were offering death threats against me, but they still didn't come get the evidence because the evidence still sits on my desk. So the investigation into who was trying to kill me has not really happened while I was under investigation myself for tearing down a Confederate monument. So I mean, that is proof positive that you know that Second Amendment, the right to be free, the right to life and liberty, none of that implies, because if we had the right as black people to right to life and liberty, then how the hell I don't have the right to turn down a statue that stood in honor of the Confederacy, which is actually the opposite of life and liberty for black people.
Facts.
Slavery as an institution is the opposite of life and liberty. Not to mention that me, as the mayor of a majority black town, and the town owned that monument, how is the state involved in investigating me about something the town owns? When the town governing body, which is the board, voted to tear it down.
That part.
Yet instead, I was still under investigation. So Marcus, you're absolutely right about that. But I mean, it's not just that. I mean, like, look, we have watched for the past 8 days at what it means to have a federal government be weaponized. We heard the Republicans say it when Joe Biden was in office, but we watched them do it, and that's the difference, right? Them saying it and what it really looks like, we're living it right now, where people were so-called going to vote for Donald Trump because of the price of eggs and kitchen table issues. Now we're watching the most vulnerable amongst us become the golf ball for how Donald Trump is going to get those tax cuts for the richest amongst us. Those that the $1 trillion of the worth of people that were standing around him at inauguration are all saying we need all of those social services cut if it's going to stand in the way of our tax breaks. They don't care.
Mondale, Ben, as I think about this, right, I think we need to fight on multiple fronts, right? We definitely need to raise awareness about these issues that the Trump administration is doing. But I also want to make sure that, and it's and then we have the capitalism side of this, right? And the capitalism side of this that I'm thinking about is how, Target made a statement that recently that was just sort of outlandish, and other companies are probably going to follow suit as we go down the list. Don't boycott Target if you're not going to have a Black-owned establishment that you're going to support. It is pointless to go boycott Target and then decide I'm going to Walmart and I'm gonna give my money to the Waltons.
That part.
Right? So while we're going through this, and Costco's, right? While we're going through this aspect of this fight that we obviously are in, right? And even more of the, far left people, and I have a far left argument for everything we talked about. I think that if our party had went with Bernie, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have happened already, but that's just my opinion. But when it comes down to the capitalism aspect of this, because we have to do our fight, but we got to do more than just talking, folks. Talking time is over with. Go start your grocery store in your community. If you figure out the way, because here's the thing. Now it's all about capitalism. It's all about investment. It's all about money. And no, we don't typically get these loans. And yes, we're going to have to fight 12 times harder, 100 times harder as Black people to start businesses within our community, right? We're going to have to start, but it won't be as hard as long as the folks who are doing well within our communities realize that there are businesses that they can support, so we can actually go and have our own Costco, or not even have our own Costco, but have a multitude of stores that support people like we did back in the day. The big box stores are taking our equity. The big box stores are keeping us down, and the big box stores are blatantly saying into our face the same thing that email said to Mondale.
Indeed.
That part.
So we're gonna have to support our own. Like unfortunately, brother Sharpton, I don't care about a shop in. A shop in ain't it, because we just giving our money, taking it from one entity, and financially supporting another entity that don't give a damn about us either. So why am I going to do a shop in?
I mean, Costco did. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Marcus. But Costco, in their defense, did make a commitment to keep their DEI program. But I still support what you're saying 100%. This buy-in. Costco is making that statement because Black people spend a lot of money at Costco and they know the demographics of their customers.
Right. But do they pay their employees a living wage? The Black folks who work there? No, they don't. Does Walmart, the people who own Costco, pay their people a living wage and make it so that you work at Walmart and you work 8 hours at Walmart and you can pay your bills? Not anywhere in America, right? Like, I'm looking at the bottom line of this thing, right? Now, shout out to keeping their DEI program, but I mean, at this point, it's almost like just an advertisement, right? It's almost just like, let me lock in my base. It's almost like Target running a commercial with a rapper on it.
Or link, or like what happened on with Lyft. They had this white driver tell this woman, this heavyset Black woman, she couldn't get in his car because she was too big and canceled the ride. She documented it and called Lyft, and Lyft before, and people, I don't know if people caught this, and the only reason I know that Lyft did something dirty is because Lyft actually sent an email to Black women saying 10% off with a Black woman, heavyset Black woman in the ad. So I do 100%.
I do want to clear up my mistake, and I see in the chat, I'm thinking Sam's Club, not Costco.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, but still, we're talking about entities that aren't necessarily doing much for our communities, man. Like, we have to actually establish our own businesses right now. And you know, as much as I don't agree with his politics, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. You better look at Boyce Watkins when it comes down to Black economic power. That man knows what he's talking about, at least how to start his businesses. Boyce got his own issues and different things, but when it comes down to the economic stuff, he's right. Boyce is right. Like, how you support fine funding and go forward. Now, his politics, hey, you know, it can go back and forth. But when it comes down to economic power, he's on point.
I mean, Malcolm X it ain't even new. Malcolm X, being in Marcus, Malcolm X said, look, the man who owned Woolworth started with a 5 and dime store. We want to skip the 5 and dime step. And I mean, we don't need big box stores. We need stores that supply what we need. Have a bunch of them. We don't need 10 Jay-Z's when we can have 100 people making a livable wage.
That's right.
I'll take 100 people making a livable wage over 10 Jay-Z's any day of the week.
Any day. That's right. And if we get out of the mindset that we're all trying to build empires, no, we don't. We're not in the season to build empires right now. First of all, we need to get that demon out of us in the first place. Right. We need to tear empires are meant to be torn down. Right. So there's no reason for Black folks or any marginalized group to buy into the idea that you are building an empire. Building an empire requires you to step on people's necks. What we need to do is build a living for as many people as we possibly can. And if that living in your city is $60,000, then I think we need to help make that happen, right? If you're living in your city is $150,000, that's a living. If you're living in a city where you need $1 million, you need to get out that city. Right? You need to get back down to the South where you could save some money. That's it. About Dr. Watkins, Boyce Watkins, you know, I got, and the only reason I haven't come for Dr. Watkins is because he was literally the first brother, period, to give me an opportunity in this political commentary space. I mean, way back when I was 150 pounds heavier. But that time has come and gone. Dr. Watkins is really playing a nasty game with the Black community. He, along with Jamal Green out of Chicago, along with Terrain Walker out of Atlanta, along with Tyreek Nasheed, wherever he's from and whatever his real name actually is, they're playing a very nasty game, dividing Black people and soft peddling these white supremacist talking points to the Black community underneath the guise of blackness. I don't disagree with you, Marcus, on the sense that he spits decent economic game. I want to make clear, I can't disagree with you there, but it's hard for me to receive the economic game that he spits when I see all the very subtle ways that he's peddling white supremacy to the Black community, MAGAism to the Black community, particularly right now. Their number one goal is to placate Black folks into doing nothing. Not one of those people I named are giving a strategy for us to do anything, but they're actively attacking everybody who's doing something. And so until I see those brothers actually organize and help activate something, they need to shut their mouths.
Hey, listen, respectfully, I can't ride with you on that one right there. Brother Terrain is as a friend. Now, we disagree with some of the political policy points and political points, but when it comes down to him and advocating for Black men, he's one of the best in the game for doing that.
That's cool. Advocating for Black men, but at the expense of Black women don't ride for me either.
That part. Yeah, I'll let you finish, right? So, like, I'm not going to sit up here and just blanket coat anybody that I politically disagree with and say that they're not advocating for the Black community, because quite honestly, Terrain has done an amazing job when it comes down to speaking for Black men in a political space when we're underrepresented, underfunded, and he talks about it in a real way. And he has not been wrong when it comes down to Black men in this game at all, in my opinion. He has not been wrong, and he actually mirrors some of the points that we've created on here. When it comes down to Jamal Green, Jamal is a product of his environment. I know what you said about Jamal being paid by the Republican Party, but I also know exactly where Jamal Green lives.
Well, I didn't say that.
Oh, well, somebody else said that. Somebody said that Jamal was getting paid by Republicans and this, that, and the other. I know where Jamal lives. I know where Jamal stays. I know the people around Jamal's area, and the people around Jamal's area say what he says. It's not just some kind of isolated thought process that J-Mal comes by with. What I cannot do and what I won't allow to do is this blanket statement that black men with their own opinions have to think in a certain way or they're a detriment to the black community, because there's different ways to skin a cat. And unfortunately, I just can't do that.
But Marcus, you didn't do that. Ben gave his opinion on those people. So we're not asking you to do that. I will say though, it is absolutely incorrect to say that Terrain don't got problematic views about black women and black men that don't agree with
I didn't say that.
So, and he, listen, hold on, because I thought he was my friend too, and we still chat. I still think he's problematic as hell. I still think his point of views are small-minded, and also they are distractions from what we really need to be doing as black people when it comes to organizing us collectively. He has a black isolationist point of view that will put black people in harm the minute he found out they are not his type of black. And I don't deal with that because the segregating of black people is weird to me, and I don't know where it came from, except from white people that have an alternative a motive. So that's why I got to rock with Ben. And that J-Mal Green thing, saying that he's from Chicago, and other people saying it, other people in the area are starting to say and hear what people of influence and people with platform keep saying out loud.
All right.
So
well,
I'm not letting him off the hook for other people in his area saying it, because this idea that people are upset with immigrants, it could have been squashed if people with character would have said, nah, bruh, we need to blame these white people for what they're doing.
Come on.
And how these people got here.
We
didn't have nobody with
Madell.
to do that.
Wait a minute. So Brandon Johnson, who opened up these schools that have been in these black communities, right? He gets a pass, right?
Well, hang on. Before we get to Brandon Johnson, I want to reply to what you said about my comment.
We tend to give smoke to the folks who are expressing themselves, and then also skip way over. Brandon didn't have to open up those schools. Brandon could have found 50, 60 other communities. Brandon could have found 50, 60 other communities in Chicago, all over the place. Listen. Here's the thing.
Can I ask you what he did? What did he do with the schools?
Even though it's messed up, city funding. And here's the thing, man. Like, we have to do something with these displaced people, right? But when you sending people to the poorest communities and giving them money right in front of the people who have been living there for years, and like my grandma who called me on the same exact issue. My grandma, not nobody else. Fuck Jamal, fuck everybody else. I'm talking about my grandma. My grandma said to me, "Dang, they opened up the school across the street, and this person got $5,000, and I haven't gotten a dime, and I've been on Section 8 up until 2004. Now,
and then Marcus, that's when you should have said, Grandma, Section 8 is a dime, plus it's more.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying to you is she hadn't had help since then, right? Like, there was no $5,000 a month. And to be quite honest with you, it was offensive to her that school got closed down in general, and it was more offensive to her that it got opened up to not be a school.
Let me jump in there real quick, Mundell, because I want to circle back on what I said, because I mean what I said. I'm gonna say it again. Terrain Walker, J-Mal Green, Boyce Watkins, Tariq Nasheed are cut from the same cloth. What they are doing is dividing and conquering black men from black women for Terrain. That's his beat. That's what he does. And it's fascinating. It's extremely fascinating that we are buying into that particular brand of division. But okay, I understand there's some latent beef between black men and black women, but the last thing we need is somebody out there making a career out of it, right? As far as J-Mal Green, I flew to Chicago to help. I introduced him at his first campaign, right? I still got love for that brother, but I am slow, very slow to call people out that I have love for, like Dr. Boyce Watkins. Got love for him, but I got to call him out. J-Mal, got love for him, but I got to call him out. When you are out here peddling white supremacist talking points, doing the division, the dividing and conquering on behalf of white supremacy, whether he's getting a check or not, that's what he's doing. I don't know if he's getting paid, never said it, but he's doing the work. I do know Tariq Nasheed has made it clear he got offered the bag and he's doing it at this point. So whether or not he took the bag, he's doing the work. As far as who's the other person, as I said, J-Mal, Tariq, Boyce Watkins, and whoever it was, I stand by it to this now today. They are actively doing the work of dividing the diaspora and pointing people to blame immigrants. What did they? Let me ask you this question in Chicago. They opened up those schools, and if I'm not mistaken, they turned them into shelters, right?
Shelters and limited housing.
What a good use for a horrible thing that was done by Rahm Emanuel. It is a good use of something that should never have been done by that snake in the grass, Rahm Emanuel. Here's the other thing, blaming immigrants for cities that didn't have resources in the first place. A lot of black folks are under the impression that they're having resources taken from them. What resources were given to us in the first place in any of these cities? These cities have always been underfunded. Should these immigrants have been sent to our neighborhoods? No. You know what? Because they're not going to send them to the white folks' rich neighborhood.
Whose decision was that?
That was
but
a good.
When it comes
the mayor,
and when it comes down to Terrain Walker, let me say this right here. He says two words, right? He doesn't believe in black misogyny or the opposite, or the opposite. What tends to happen is he's making a counterpoint to the degradation of black men that's been happening on our side of the house.
I can do that without attacking black women.
Talking, man, please let me finish my point, because y'all always get on me about letting y'all finish off. So here's my situation when it comes down to that. If you think that all of Terrain Walker's points and he's banging on black women all the time, no, he's not banging on black women. He bangs on black women that bangs on black men for no reason. And we got to a point in society in America where it's almost like, black men, you know what? Y'all can't defend yourselves no matter what. So anything can be said about you. Anything can be said about you. And if you even just say, hey, man, that's wrong, you're a misogynist. I have no problems with black women whatsoever. Matter of fact, I want more black female leadership in America. I think it's necessary right now, especially for times like this right here. But when it comes down to, you know what, black men are the weakest link, that's who he's going after. That's who he goes after all the time. So in my opinion, we could just agree to disagree, because I got counterpoints to everything. Like, we could do this all night, or we could continue to show.
No, I think it's good. I think we should do this, because you know what? I can take it. I can take a sister who talking out the side of her neck towards black women, towards black men. You know why? Because we know. Patriarchy is as strong in the black community as it is in any other community. I ain't got no problem if a black woman talk out of her neck. You know what? I'm gonna look past it. You know why? Because I got to look at the real problem, which is white supremacy, that's got us all out here fighting each other. So when a woman talks out the side of her neck about a black man, you know what? It does get under my skin. But you know what? I can eat that. I ain't got to turn around and use my voice to go toe to toe with a black woman. For what? For why? Why am I go after a black woman when these crackers out here deserve every bit of our energy? Why am I go after an immigrant when these crackers out here deserve every bit of our energy? There's not a person out here who deserves our ire more than the white supremacist power structure. And there's nobody going to tell me to turn my eyes towards black women because they mad. No, I would rather slow down. I would rather slow down and hear them out and listen and eat it, because I'm strong enough to do that.
Well, so here's the thing: if things are
it's not just the black women thing. Terrain also catch himself in shifty spaces, dog. And he co-signs and he goes along with that. We gotta acknowledge that, bro. Like I see the crowd he's with. He's with that Tariq Nasheed crowd with that anti-immigrant stuff. And that anti-immigrant language is dangerous, bro. We gotta own that.
Well, I agree with the anti-immigrant language. What I don't agree with is people who are set up by white power structures to actually utilize their gender and color to attack black men and think it's perfectly fine. I'm sorry.
Yeah, nobody thinks that's good.
Nobody does that. Wait, pause. Wait, pause. So
I said nobody on this. When I'm talking about nobody,
well, Ben just said he can overlook anything that comes out of a black woman's mouth.
I can't.
Right. He also said
you can't have them both ways now. Wait.
Marcus, listen to what I said. We're not having it both ways.
I'm sorry, my dear. Go ahead.
Let me get in on it. I said nobody. When I say nobody, I need you to understand. I'm talking about the universe of people on this podcast. Me, you, and Ben. Mm-hmm. Nobody is saying that we agree with the weaponization of gender of any form to attack black maleism. That's not what we're saying. What Ben said was, when black women do attack him, he'll eat it. He didn't say. He said he also didn't like it, but he said he'll eat it. Nobody on this call, on this podcast, is saying we're okay with it. We're saying that correcting that black woman ain't gonna get us one step closer to equity. It ain't gonna get us one step closer to reparation. Taking our eye off of what will is a distraction, is what Ben said.
And I do, before you take it back, I want to recognize my woke white friend number one, Letter Hack. He's right. I should be saying saltines, because I know that's gonna be cut out and be used against me. I want it to be cut out and used against me, but out of respect and love to my woke white friends,
saltines.
I'll use saltines from now.
It took a second. I was like, oh, yeah, there you go.
My apologies to my woke white friends. Go ahead, Marcus.
I don't have anything else, man. Like to me personally, I've been in a space where the power dynamics have been different. Does it bother me? Nah, it don't bother me because I'm used to it, right? So, but what I am saying is that there is a culture within the black community that has power in the black community on whether people get funding, sources, jobs, just not big as the white power structure, that is more than willing to allow someone who's angry, someone who does not have, someone who utilizes a person's gender and color and say you're the weakest link. I'm sorry, it has affected me personally too much for me to be like, yeah, it doesn't have a problem. So I mean, it is what it is. Just like that would be like, hey, you know what?
I think for me, Marcus, and you know this is true too. That's a black political conversation. Those like that, the pitting black men against black women don't happen in regular community or black life. Let's be honest.
I don't think he does that, Mondale.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I'm just talking about.
I don't think he does that, Mondale. I don't think Terrain.
No, I'm not talking about him in general. I'm not. No. I'm talking about what you're saying. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying the pitting of black people happens in political space. It don't. Nobody's gonna go into a black community and tell black women and black men, oh, y'all should be beaten. That don't happen with regular black folk. That political space is a different space. It's toxic in general. The political space is toxic in general. The dynamics of political spaces do not mimic what happens in black communities on a day-to-day basis with folk that are not in black political spaces.
Right. And I guess I want to just follow that up with saying Terrain talks about black political spaces. That's what he does. He doesn't talk about us on the street or us in our homes or us in our barbershops. He talks about
but my problem with him is he has an era of what's right and wrong for black people. He is the sayer of what's right and wrong for black people.
Hey man, I think that wasn't the initial. I think that might be a tad bit moving the goalpost, because what we're talking about is him and talking about black women in the space. I hate to be like that, but like you might be right about that, but that wasn't the conversation. The conversation was.
I already told you what my problem with him was.
Yeah, that's it. And I respect that. It is what it is.
And it's weird, but I actually kind of what was that thing you said again, Mondale? Because I don't know if I fully. You said that he does what, Terrain?
He has my thing is his anti-immigrant is a problem for me. The anti-immigrant language and rhetoric, and then the calling it up to the Tariq Nasheeds of the world, and then also he has an aura about he gets to determine what's destructive or good for the black community. You know, that last part, I don't know that that's a problem for me so much because I think a lot of us out here are really just trying to spit what we think is for the best of the black community. Now, you might have a different context and be visualizing your experiences with them, so I can't speak to that. But just at face value, what you said, you know, I have a heart for what I think is the best for the black community too, right? I think we're all out here speaking on what we think is the best for the black community, but I don't think any of us feel like we're the final word for the black community. If that's the difference, right? I don't think we speak for the black community. My belief is, and I'm shifting my own goalposts, right? And I'm moving the conversation is that I don't speak for nobody black. I just speak for those who agree with me, right? If you agree with me, I speak for you. If you don't agree with me, I don't speak for you. If you don't even know who I am, I don't speak for you. But it's a little different for me. I think what's different for me, Ben, is that I do speak for a whole segment of black men, the ones that we talk to and gather information from. That's true. Millions of them. So I would be lying if I say I don't know what these guys want and think. because they have already told me. So for me not to speak on their behalf is for me to one, waste their time, and also discount what the fuck they believe in.
That's right. Okay. Hey, I take that one. Let me eat that one.
I speak for all black people, no matter what.
God damn.
All of y'all. You must agree with Marcus.
You speak for all black people?
No, I'm just joking.
You know you're joking,
even
man.
those black Trumpers?
Oh,
Yeah, them too.
Ooh.
Especially
Ooh.
on this
So
show.
tell me what they were thinking. Tell me how they were going to explain Donald Trump's statement we just listened to.
No, I don't like. I'm, you know.
But that's what makes this entire FBA ADOS movement. And again, I feel more closely aligned with ADOS. FBA is a cult that is ran and managed by a man who has a copyright and a trademark on it. The reason I feel a little more affinity towards ADOS is because I've met with many of them in person and actually organized cases with them, and because I personally know some of them, and that's usually a weak point for me. I ain't gonna lie, like that. If I know you and I've met you and I worked with you and I like you, I tend to give you a little bit more grace. But the problem with them in this particular space and this time right now is that when Donald Trump makes the statement that he makes, they start championing Donald Trump. The fact that Donald Trump said what he said about the 14th Amendment being for the descendants of enslaved people, now you got ADOS and FBA out there pushing and celebrating Donald Trump. Not knowing full well that at the end of this is the part that drives me a little furious. The end game here, folks, is the destruction of blackness. They're not stopping with immigrants. That's just the first salvo. So when I see people like Jamal, who was promoting Dr. Phil and Tom Holman, the new director of the Homeland Security, I imagine, going on the street, filming them deporting immigrants, right? How disgusting is that? Dr. Phil is out on the streets of Chicago filming immigrants getting deported. Right. And here a black man, Jamal Green, is out there celebrating that, telling Tom Holman, go. I got a real problem with that because it is blinding a whole lot of black folks from seeing the end game, which is the destruction of blackness.
You know,
there's no benefit.
Real quick, Mondale. I agree with you, Ben. I do. I think that they're like, if there was an end goal of like, okay, you know what, Trump is going to give us reparations now, right? Like, then I'd be like, oh, okay, I
might have to eat it, huh?
Yeah, but I'd be like, oh, okay, boom. But like, we don't see a legislative move that way. I do want to explain something. Mondale, hold your thoughts for a second, because last week, you know, we kind of went all over the place, but I took some time. I watched the episode from last week, and as we have this conversation, I want to say this to the viewers, and I want to say this to my brothers to the left and the right of me. I have beef with the Democratic Party being a registered Democrat. And the reason why I have beef with the Democratic Party is because the matriarchs and the patriarchs and my ancestors who have passed away voted Democratic religiously. It's almost like my elders, it was a necessity for them to vote Democratic, and you got shunned and shamed within our family and black families across America if you did not vote Democratic. So we vote Democrats in. I believe with Democrats knowing the demographics and consistently pushing to be elected in our areas, I think there's a natural stewardship, like Ben with your flock. I think there should be a natural stewardship of the black community from Democrats. That just does not happen, right? And here's my problem with them. So when we start complaining about what Charlemagne the God said, and we start complaining about what Tariq Nasheed said, we start complaining about what these guys say about it, my issue is that Democrats had a stewardship problem that they should have been able to correct some of the issues within our own community from being reelected over and over and over and over and over again. And then it would make the Tariq Nasheeds and the Charlemagne the Gods and all these other folks look stupid if they ever said anything against Democratic policy or ever even supported a Republican in general. The stewardship part.
What you mean by stewardship?
Stewardship, meaning that when you get elected, like it's expected that it's expected in the Black community for years and years and years and years for Democrats to be elected. So you have a history in some communities where they haven't seen anything but a Democrat for the past 70 years, 60 years almost, right? And what I'm saying is, if that's what you get, if that's how you get elected, then it is your right and responsibility to take Black folks, do whatever you can when you get power to go ahead and make sure that certain things are done for our community, not have us in the same economic predicament that we've been in for 60 and 70 years. Now, for me, when I see APAC sponsored bills and the Congressional Black Caucus supports them at 90%, yet there's no leveraging of anything for these Black communities. And I'm not talking about earmarks. I'm talking about specific legislation that a guaranteed jobs program, raising the minimum wage in our communities, healthcare for all, things like that, things that will actually benefit the Black community. You go arm and leg over to support APAC and corporate interests and lobbying, and yes, and that guy right there, right? That guy right there, right? Mm-hmm. Lobbyist, right? So here's my thing: when Republicans do what they do, I do sit back sometimes and say, okay, you know what? Damn, Congressional Black Caucus, y'all were elected for a while, and y'all had Barack Obama.
Opportunity. Yep.
Y'all had opportunities to do these things, and yet still it would make all these folks that we're talking about who are Black and say crazy shit, it would make them be responsible, and it would make them look stupid for saying anything like that. But unfortunately, they're not good stewards of the people that are voting for them, allowing this space.
Oh, you meditated on this, brother.
Allowing this space to even exist.
That's it.
So that's why I'm mad at Democrats. I thought about this for a while. They allowed this problem to happen. What do I look like getting mad at any of these brothers when the space from the people that we trusted to vote for over and over and over and over and over again didn't do what they were supposed to do? Now I understand it. It's almost like reactive abuse when and trauma response when these brothers go and do that and we get mad at them, and they are not right. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, that's where I was coming from last week. I didn't have a good way of articulating it because I was drinking, and I shouldn't have been drinking, but I'm not now, and that's exactly what happened.
So my pushback now is still my same pushback from last week. First, I think two things can be true. Democrats are never strong enough when they are in power. Because when Barack Obama won 2008, and we had control of everything, we should have went ham. When Biden won, mm-hmm. We had control of everything, we should have went ham. That is the truth. I also think that there's an oversimplification of people. You saying that Black people have only had Democratic representation for 70 years does not matter if they didn't control everything, because Republicans are still required to pass some things. So I think two things can be true. Democrats they don't fight hard as Republicans, and also the way America's government is set up, Republicans are more likely to break the norms of government to get what they want than Democrats. And Democrats don't have the will to fight as even for good stuff when Republicans are fighting for bad stuff. I think both of those things can exist.
Yeah, man. Hey, Mondale, as a political scientist, I absolutely agree with you, right? Like, I'm not, like, I don't disagree with your pushback whatsoever. I'm coming from the aspect of 2008, 2020, yep. You know, like, our most recent things, we have these Black folks that were there to influence Biden. Like, both of these people got elected because of the Black Caucus, right? and now and then when these elections happen, they turn like I get it. You need like and to watch Trump do what he does right now is a slap in the face politically to me. I'm sorry, it is because it's like, well, wait a minute,
Preaching.
what? Wait. So you mean to tell me that the Congressional Black Caucus that we elected and went and Clyburn went and stumped for Biden and this, that, and the other? You mean to tell me when you're in one of the poorest districts in America, you didn't tell Biden when he had the Democratic House, Democratic Senate, and probably a Supreme Court that would have to go with whatever, or maybe not, but you didn't tell him then to force these issues, to force these things to happen that would have made Black people who support Trump look stupid right now.
Black man, one, let me start here. You preaching, you spitting, and I could tell like you. I felt that at the core of what you were saying last week. I think we even had some agreement on that. Here's where I part ways with you tonight, and it's minuscule. One, here's why I agree. Let me start where I agree. Jim Clyburn is a bum.
That part.
He's a bum for the Black community. Please quote that and send it to him, anybody who wants to. He's a bum. He wasted all the political capital that he used to get Joe Biden into power, ain't do nothing with it. And then at the end, when Donald Trump was getting ready to come back in power, this Negro said, we should give him a pardon. Why? Donald Trump wouldn't have taken it, right? That means that he doesn't have the political wherewithal in his thinking to be astute enough to be a representative of the Black community, nor do I think he actually cared to actually be that. I think he was just enjoying the life of being a congressman. He's a bum. There's too many people in the Congressional Black Caucus, not only the elected officials, but in the surrounding, apparatus, those consultants and those big wigs who are all affiliated with them. Too many of them have no regard for the Black community. I'd have met them in person. I'd have been on the receiving end of some of their foolishness before they even knew who I was. I was just a worker outside the doors, going out to canvas. Those of us who get the little $100 check at the end of the day. And then when they realized who I was, like, oh, Dixon, come on in here. We know your daddy. We know you. Come on. I'm like, nah, I don't want to be with y'all because y'all treated us like trash as Black people as we were going out there to canvas, didn't want to give us our checks and sent out some beer and chicken. These Negroes sent out beer and chicken instead of our checks. So I got a real problem with the Congressional Black Caucus in that regards. I got a real problem with that representation of Blackness that has been in Washington, D.C., ain't done nothing for us. And I can't say that categorically, but that's how I'm feeling right now. At the end of the day, they didn't move the ball like Donald Trump is moving the ball. So I agree with you in that regard. Now, that still ain't no excuse to be out here dividing and conquering the Black community, the Black diaspora.
But just my last thing on this, because I started it and then I'll let you have it, my dear. This is my last thing on it. Too late now, folks. Donald Trump's in, right? So that's why I don't mind talking about Republicans again right now. But so let me just get this out the way. In my mind, if the right things had been done for the Black community and other communities across America when we had a chance to do it, like somebody had stepped in and did Donald Trump type boss moves for our communities, then Vice President Harris would be President Harris right now, in my opinion. And we wouldn't have had so much dissent, and you would have been able to actually point at certain things without saying hypothetical things, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. And this does not have anything to do with the Harris campaign. This is just my opinion. But I will step into the nowness of things. It's done now.
Step into the nowness.
Yeah, it's done now, right? And my thing is, as these DNC elections happen, and as these new elections start to happen, and as we start reshaping the Democratic Party, I am keeping a close eye on these things because it is so easy for them to replicate the things that have been done in the past. It's much easier for them to replicate than change, right? But that's not right now. Right now, we have a Donald Trump problem, and I want to acknowledge that.
Yeah. Step into the nowness, bro. That's a sermon.
I think for me, what a couple things are, I mean, they make good political commentary, but they're not actually what happens, right? For instance, not say that Biden became president of the Black Caucus, they have will or power over the Black community to name that, to claim that. Like they're not. Clyburn is not the reason Joe Biden won the South. Bernie Sanders is the reason that he lost the South. Bernie Sanders choosing to spend 4 years from 2016 through 2020 in Nevada trying to court the Hispanic vote and spend no time in the South to court the Black vote. And Black people weren't ready for a new white man, old white man that they don't know, who has no relationship over a Black man who had the smell of the cologne of Barack Obama as his vice president. So that Bernie Sanders' lack of respect for what it means to be Black and how he didn't show up for 4 years is the reason he won. He didn't win. Clyburn can't force Black
Did you
people.
really just make that argument?
Wait, let him cook, because I'm gonna disagree with him too. Go ahead, Marcus Mundell.
Did I really make the argument? Bernie spent 4 years between 2016 and 2020 in Nevada building Hispanic relationships, and no time in South Carolina, none, and anywhere else in the South. Yeah, I made that argument. Furthermore, Bernie is no different, I think, on Black issues than most of the corporate Democrats.
We're not laughing at you, Mundell, but go ahead. We got a comment on the screen, but we listening. Go ahead, fam.
Yeah. I would also go and say, I would also say that, you know, it is a vital input for us to realize that Clyburn don't even turn out 30% of the Black men in his own district. So to believe that he had enough power to tell the brothers in Georgia, North Carolina, and Virginia to go vote for Biden is a misnomer. Like the majority of the Black men in South Carolina don't even vote. The Black Caucus are not famous for turning out Black voters in their own districts. So what I'm telling people is, it would behoove us to remember that most of these people came in. The older members, the majority of them are older than us, way older than us, and they've been in those positions since baby boomers were voting. Those are their cohorts. We didn't vote these people in. If it was up to young Black people, the majority of Black people, more Black people that ever lived ever, are living right now, and they're not supportive of the Black Caucus. Mean nothing to them. So we need to stop calling them our leadership just because they created a caucus called the Black Group. It's like saying the Black Boule is the leadership of the Black community. I'd be damned if they are.
Yeah, I love that last sentence. I really love that. But I'm gonna tell you though, two things. I think my fundamental argument about the CBC, not that they are the spokespeople for Black people, but they shown up are powerful people in Washington D.C. that ain't wielding their power on behalf of Black people the way they should. I think
Can you describe power for me?
Power,
like in the context of the CBC, when you call them powerful people in D.C.
They're all elected officials with votes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's power. Two, they have the influence of their voices in economic communities as well as political communities. That's far more power than any of us have on this camera, on the screen, right? And I feel like if any of the three of us had even the fraction of power that they had, we would be wielding it like hell, like Hammer with like Thor with his hammer. Like we would go through and wreck shop. And I believe each of us agree, and tell me if you don't, that we don't see them doing that. We don't see the CBC doing that on behalf of Black people the way, especially when you compare it to what Donald Trump is wielding right now.
Hey, Ben,
that was just the A part, but go ahead.
Leveraging your power, leveraging your votes. Think about it for a second. Hey, Joe Biden, nobody within the Congressional Black Caucus is going to approve this spending bill unless we have a jobs program. I mean, nobody within this Black Caucus is going to approve your funding for a war in Ukraine unless Black people in America have a healthcare program. No, I mean, we can't sit up here. I guess we can. I understand civics and lobbying 101, right? And I've seen Republicans do this same exact thing in order to get things done within Democratic bills. But when we have a supermajority, we don't leverage it the same way. I'm not sitting here saying the Congressional Black Caucus is the end all be all. I say this all the time to the FBA people and the ADOS people. You can't get reparation.
We coming back to that, Lanzetta.
We'll get back to that.
That's the B part.
Yeah, that's the B part. We can't get reparations without white people voting for it. I get that, right? Like, you're going to have a constituency, a group of people to create the votes to actually get it. So there's a civics aspect to it. But when you have a majority of Democrats knowing that your base wants something and you don't leverage your votes for other things that they figure out is important, they think it's important as soon as we get elected. But black boy, joy, black girl magic while you're running for office, but then you don't leverage your votes, then that's a problem. And we haven't fundamentally not. Has anybody heard the Black Caucus saying we will not vote for X unless we get this?
Have you seen the Black Caucus ever carry on 10% of the way the Freedom Caucus does? Just think about how the Freedom Caucus holds Republicans hostage. And I'm not saying to be disruptive into the point of hostage taking, right? Because some of the stuff the Freedom Caucus does is self-destructive, but I don't think I've ever heard them on the front line of anything like that for us.
Can I ask you guys an honest question?
Mm-hmm.
Can you name any Democratic caucus that act like the Freedom Caucus?
Dude, that's a problem.
That's a problem. Yeah,
the Progressive Caucus don't do it either. They do it a little bit more.
Progressive Caucus and the Progressive Caucus
we haven't seen any Democratic president act like Trump. That's a problem.
Well, we don't want a Democratic.
That's a problem.
We don't want a Democratic president to act like Trump. We want them to be fighters for sure, but we damn sure don't want them to act like Trump.
They might have
breaking the law.
The stuff he's breaking.
He's breaking the law. He's raping women. He's anti.
Come on, man. Come on, man. You know what we.
Come on now. All right. Ben, continue, man.
Let me get to the B part. Because I was in South Carolina.
How you fight when you're in power?
You're being literal. I'm talking about in how he creates his policies, how he's going about getting things done for his interests.
Right. There's no arms he won't twist. There's nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about
right. And I'm saying, where's the morality in that? Morality doesn't just come when you're in the minority. It's also when you're in power. Donald Trump breaks laws and breaks arms to get his thing done.
Breaking arms, I agree with. Go just shy of breaking laws. Go to the edge of breaking the law and try not to break it. If you bend it, so be it. But break every arm. Bring up every skeleton out of every closet. If you know somebody who has had a drunken orgy, use that against them and get the vote the way you need it. Break arms. Now, back to Jim Clyburn, because I was in South Carolina the weekend. He worked his machinations to help Joe Biden get that nomination. Jim Clyburn was one of the key architects, along with Barack Obama, of course, that on the weekend of Super Tuesday 2020, 2020, Super Tuesday of 2020, what did he do? He got Pete Buttigieg to drop out. I think he got Amy Klobuchar to drop out. He had a couple of other people to drop out on Super Tuesday, which became the steamroll decision point. That was the flashpoint. So when we talk about Jim Clyburn's impact for Joe Biden, it's not that he got black folks out of his district to get up and vote. It's that he wielded power in the background and got all of those key players to drop out. And that's how on Super Tuesday, it ended up being the death knell for Bernie Sanders. So that's what we're talking about in terms of Jim Clyburn's power.
My thing is, where do you believe that Jim Clyburn got power to force a Pete Buttigieg or Amy Klobuchar out of the race?
Where do you believe that Bernie Sanders made Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, lose?
I didn't say that. Where'd you get that from, Marcus?
Well, how did Bernie have anything to?
Marcus, where did you get that from?
Okay, all right.
He might have heard you wrong, but what I'm saying is Jim Clyburn for sure was one of the I watched it in real time. I saw the conversations not only on TV but in person. I was on the panel. Go ahead.
I get you. I know what you're saying. I know you're saying that he was pushing for someone to drop out of the race.
He got them out the race along with Obama.
Right. But what I'm telling you all is South Carolina black voters didn't determine that Joe Biden was going to become.
No, I agree with you. That I don't disagree.
Georgia,
but Go ahead.
Virginia, and when we give power to Jim Clyburn and the black electeds and their political maneuvering, then we discount all the work of the orgs that did the work in Virginia, in Georgia, and the other southern states that turned out voters that had never voted in a Democratic primary before.
Right. And again, I think we're saying we're on two parallel tracks here, because I'm not saying he used his power in South Carolina, because there was so many people who didn't even give it. They didn't care what was going on that weekend, man. I was in the streets that weekend. People didn't even care about the election, the Super Tuesday coming up. So black folks, right? So I agree with you there. But what I'm saying is that we saw him, Jim Clyburn, wheel and deal and bend arms using political power amongst the establishment to contribute to the dog pile that was necessary to get, I think it was 4 people, but the only 2 names I can remember right now is Buttigieg and Klobuchar. Got them out on Super Tuesday weekend, which opened the door for all of them to push for Joe Biden on Super Tuesday, and that's when it was a wrap for Bernie. There was no coming back after that. So what I'm saying is, if he wields his power like that,
Bernie didn't have a chance anyway.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on.
Bernie didn't have a chance anyway, dog.
It doesn't even matter if Bernie had a chance or not. You know what? The bigger thing is, the 50,000 foot thing is, we're all talking about black votes right now, right? Right. We're all talking about how Joe Biden became president, right? Right. If black people help get Joe Biden through the primary, the Congressional Black Caucus's job is to take their issues and remind Joe Biden that the people that they represent need these things because they got your ass elected. Point blank.
And I don't think they did that.
They didn't. They didn't. They
Again,
didn't
say,
Joe, we won't vote for you.
I'm gonna,
Joe, we're not gonna vote. We're not gonna support this bill if you don't do X, Y, and Z. They didn't do that.
I'm gonna extend it a little further and remind you all of 2 things. One, black people, majority of black people in these people district that are registered didn't vote for these people.
Right.
Secondly, these people are not considered leader by black people, not across the world, but in their district. So the idea, you're looking for something from these people that black people don't even expect from these people. The black caucus might as well be the Jewish caucus to black people.
You broke up on that part. Say that again, Mandel.
He said the black caucus.
I said
caucus.
I said the black caucus might as well be the Jewish caucus to black people, because we're not expecting anything from them.
That's a problem.
That's because we've gotten used to it, because they don't do anything.
No, it's not that we got used to it. It's that not enough people participate in the primary. The primary is the problem. When you have less than 20 or 20% of the people voting to elect leadership, that is a problem. The primary is a flawed system.
I don't disagree with you there. I can't disagree with you there.
We can win our candidates in the primary, and every one of these people y'all complaining about would be gone, because nobody would run for them. Republicans very rarely run against these people we're talking about, and when they do, they get their ass mollywopped. That means anybody that we wanted to mobilize to run against these people in the primary, we damn near beat them and be guaranteed. Be guaranteed in the general election.
Okay, and Mondale, I think you just reinforced my point about why I'm mad at Democrats, and I'm also mad at the primary system. But I think you literally just reinforced what I said. That's why I'm mad at Democrats, right?
Why?
That's why, because the Democrats that represent us now allow space for Tariq Nasheed and Charlamagne the God and other people like that to say whatever the hell they want to say, because they're not like that's the problem. So you might be right on the primary issue, but the people who are in there are the problem. So
I push back on the fact that you're saying that Democrats created Charlamagne the God and the Tariq Nasheed of the world.
No,
I say greed. I say greed and
mouth.
Opportunity. You're saying that they gave way. The lack of stewardship from Democrats gave space for these idiots to have platform, is what you're saying. That means they created them.
Yeah.
No.
I'm always disagree with that,
no,
Marcus.
I don't
I'm with
agree with
Mondale on that nuance, right? Here's where I agree with you, Marcus. Yo, the Congressional Black Caucus based on their behavior, then they're demonstrating the same phenomenon that they have no legitimate reason to actually activate the black community, because activating the black
can't do
community
it.
is a threat to their power.
Exactly.
So that's why they got to go.
Exactly. That's a point that nobody on this show should argue with. I agree 100%.
I'm not
The
disagreeing
majority,
with
more black people voting is a threat to the black people that are elected already.
Then let's get,
At the
you know what?
federal level.
About our father's business. Let's get every one of these niggas, excuse me, up out the paint, because they are not called for this moment. They are representative of an old vanguard that thought it was okay just to be there and go and have cocktails when white supremacists and Republicans have been planning for 60 years.
Indeed. I also think we got to be more nuanced in our conversation so as to ensure that people aren't misled.
Oh man, wait a minute. No, hold on.
We pretty nuanced tonight, though.
I brought like
we're doing a great job tonight.
That's really kind of like don't that's you know.
I think he's talking about generally. You talking about generally out.
Like that's the point of us having these conversations, right? Like it doesn't like Mondale, you brought up a point, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're overall right, because the same people that we're talking about, most of them are Democrats. My point was.
He gonna finish it. Go ahead.
My point was, this is why not Mondale. This is why I have a problem with Democrats right now. And guess what? The Democrats that are in DC, that are in the Black Caucus, are these people that need to get voted out. That don't mean they ain't Democrats no more. And by the way, to everybody watching, you don't have to be a neoliberal to be a Democrat.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so Marcus, I don't know what you were talking about and why you got all your panties got an award. I was talking about the political space in general, and the fact that Ben called that and you didn't tells me how soft your yellow flesh is.
Come on, man.
The man called me the black. The man said my black screen was me being close up. You know I wasn't gonna let that fly, dog.
Hey, man, Marcus, Mondale, you missed the comment when they said Marcus looked like if Ernie from Sesame Street came to life.
Whoa!
That's up there with the Ashley Pete comment, man.
Who said that about my brother?
So I forgot who it was, but that had me rolling, bro. Marcus had to laugh at that one.
I'm laughing at all of it, because it's like, here's the thing. Sometimes when you go against the Democratic establishment, people are gonna have pushback for what you say. Is what it is. Yeah.
Oh man. I love y'all boys, man. Wow.
Indeed. I think Marcus, you got to understand. There are more conversations happen other than ours. I know this is a great conversation. So when I say the lack of nuance, I'm talking about in general. The lack of nuance to me is the reason. The lack of nuance and us ceding nuance for so long to idiots is the reason we have a Tariq Nasheed and a Charlemagne the God and all of the people that are like that. I think those people come from spaces, or they thrive in a space where you can just say something and run with it, and nobody's like, wait a minute, what about these things that are important to consider in this fact? I wasn't talking about our conversation. We're having a very nuanced conversation at the moment.
Yeah, no.
Hey, I'm sorry I brought it back. Thought about it all week, folks.
Man, that was a great, it was a great conversation. Great, needed. I think it's needed all the time, right?
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. If Democrats don't get something together between now and 2026, America's done. And we don't have time. We don't have time to. They simply cannot do what they've been doing for the last couple of years. They can't do it. They are already on the back pedal.
All right, let me give you another example. Keisha Lance Bottoms is running for governor of Georgia. Now, Keisha Lance Bottoms is a uber neoliberal who helped usher in.
Yeah. The $90 million cop city.
What outside of Kasim Reed, she kept the Kasim Reed policy of gentrification of Black communities going at a very high level.
Facts.
And I mean, she's a fellow rattler. I love her as a person. a beautiful person when it comes down to like how she presents herself, man, like and also how she interacts. But when it comes down to policies, we got ourselves another, and you know, until somebody else decides to run, we got ourselves another neoliberal running against a Republican, and it's going to be on the governor's race. And here's the thing, he's going, you know, the Republican Party right now, at least Kemp is one of the most popular Republicans.
Can he go for a third term?
Huh?
Can he go 3?
No,
Okay.
he can't.
No,
he's term limit.
Yeah, he's term limit.
He's gonna run against Ossoff.
Yeah, he's gonna run against Ossoff. That's right. He's gonna run against Ossoff. And Ossov's gonna have a hard time.
That's gonna be a problem for real.
Because
that's gonna be a big
Kemp
problem.
is now Kemp probably would think twice against Warnock. But,
yeah.
But also
he about to pick off Ossoff, man, if he ain't careful.
Right.
Wow. No, I want to echo what you're saying about Keisha Lance Bottoms, because look at the love child. I can't say that because people think I'm tech. Look at the political child of Kasim Reed and Keisha Lance Bottom, Andre Dickens. Right, he's carrying on these policies all the same in the city of Atlanta. He's actually forwarding them, especially when you talk about Cop City and the disenfranchisement of all those people who got the votes, who got the petitions necessary to block it, and how he just completely dismissed it. So there is absolutely a thread of black neoliberals that got to get out the paint as much as Jim Clyburn, as much as Republicans, because they are empowering this even more.
Well, the problem is you have spaces like people like Andre, who was a activist that nobody saw as a true threat to Kasim running for re-election. And then he gets in office and he turns out to be anything but an activist, not even an advocate even.
Why? How do you smoke? Because you're right. Like, how do you smoke that out? And I guess you can't smoke that out. You have to root it out with political pressure. And we have to make sure people.
This is why I tell people it is not revolutionary to elect somebody. It's revolutionary to unelect an incumbent.
Right.
That's the revolution. When incumbents start losing their job for not being who we think they are, then you'll see incumbents get in line. Money won't matter. Money won't matter when you send Nancy Pelosi home. Money won't matter when you send Chuck Schumer home. Money won't matter when you send the richest Democrats home. When you start defeating APAC candidates, money won't matter. And we can't do that until we start getting serious about the primary.
And that's a turnout issue in the primary. You're absolutely right.
That's the turnout issue in the primary.
To add on to what you said, I mean, Ben, your question, how do you do that? I mean, you got to start looking at different places, man. I think Georgia particularly needs to take a Jimmy Carter approach and find somebody from Macon, find somebody from Albany, find somebody who's a Southern progressive Democrat, right, to actually run that has a outside of Atlanta. Because here's the thing, if you're a legitimate candidate for governor, you're going to figure out how you're going to get some ads up on television in Atlanta. And that's one of the most expensive.
Bro. I said, where are we going here?
Yeah, Atlanta's one of the most expensive media markets, right? Yeah. But how do you be a Keisha Lance Bottoms when like she has a name, she's going to have the money, she just left the Biden administration. If she just left the Biden administration, and I don't know what her platform is going to be, but if it's anything like Atlanta, then you know what? I mean, it's not. I don't think that she's going to excite rural Georgia. I don't. Hopefully she does. If she's the only person in the
I don't think she's gonna be the only person in the race. I think Stacey's gonna run again.
And they don't like each other, so that's a very interesting commentary.
It's a good fight.
I think Stacey's gonna run again.
Well, I mean, if it happens, it's going to be a very interesting situation when it comes down to how they go separate the platforms. That's going to be the most interesting.
Somebody gonna have to go left.
Somebody gonna have to go left hard, boy. And who you think it's gonna be? I think it's gonna be Stacey to go left hard.
Stacey's gonna go left.
Of course it is. Yeah, she's a political animal.
I like see now I feel good about the state of Georgia again. I feel good about that race.
Thank you, Mondale.
Yeah, no, that was good. Yeah. Y'all got to do something about that boy down in Florida. They trying to get to run. Byron Donalds. They trying to get that boy to run for governor down in Florida.
We want him to.
Yeah, I think it'll be great.
You know what I want? I want every one of them egotistical power hungry, wild ass Republicans to keep running. You want to know why? For different offices, because every time they do, they narrow their lead in the they narrow their majority in the Congress. And the smaller that majority get, the harder it gets for them to keep that daggone so-called unit that they think they got up. So I mean,
it's already looking shaky in the state of Florida right now. If you look at the governor, he wanted a session, and the Republicans wanted a special session. They're fighting already. Yep. The Republicans are killing each other already in Florida right now. Already. Like, I don't think the Republicans are unified whatsoever. And the way that Republicans fight is different than the way the Democrats fight.
Oh yeah, Republicans fight dirty.
They fight dirty, and then the primary. I mean, in the general election, Republicans stay home.
Republicans fight like white women. Remember what happened when people didn't vote for Hillary Clinton? They left and joined the Republican Party.
I can't stand y'all sometimes, man.
You don't remember 2008? The white women left the Democratic Party. They went and joined.
I remember that.
Sheesh, I was like, what happened, sis?
Man, y'all know how old we are now, though? Because y'all were active in 2008, obviously, right? I was.
Oh yeah.
I was.
That was how many elections ago was that? My God, we old. Anyway, well, fellas, sound like we've come to some good conclusions tonight. We don't argue with each other. Yeah, that was five presidential elections, right? Man, yeah, that's the election cycle that them CBC type Negroes offered us chicken and beer instead of giving us our check.
Oh wow, are you serious?
Serious, man. I never forget that. And then they realized, they were like, "Oh, Dixon, we know who you are. Come on in here." Like, nah, man, I'm staying out here with the people, man. Give us our check.
Yeah. And by the way, you just made me know who you are even more with that old Dixon statement. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow.
Yes, exactly, right. Don't just because you know my peoples, you know who we are. Don't try to treat me better now. Nah, a second ago you thought I was just out here with the unwashed masses. I'm gonna stay out here with the unwashed masses. Anyway, gentlemen, who wants the last word?
I'll take the last word, Mondale, unless you want it.
I just want to say, listen, I just want to say, consider the power in being wrong as an opportunity to learn or grow.
Yeah.
I love y'all. See y'all next week.
Well, that boy gave us a fortune cookie, but that thing is true. That's power right there. I ain't got nothing to say. Nothing better than that. Marcus, it's in your hands.
Hey, listen, everybody. Be loved and love yourself. And understand something, man. In this world that we live in, every day is a new opportunity to improve, right? And get better, right? So make sure that you're doing something every single day to better yourself. That's what I'm asking everybody to do, right? Every day, make sure you do one thing better. If you only read one page of a book every day. If you haven't read before, pick up do one push-up, do something to regulate your life and get a lot better. And also, if you need therapy, see a therapist.
I like that. Folks, we'll see y'all next time. Take it easy, everybody.
Peace.
Trap squad, 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 trap squad. Hey, clickbaity political. Yeah, Thirsttrap, trap squad, squirrel squad. Our mission is critical to speak the truth to the masses. We here for the fight. We ain't started, but we here to finish it. Sick and tired of seeing the privilege. Take advantage of the weak and the innocent. So we let a voice be heard. Every single weeknight. Unapologetic. Black people, despite this white supremacist system that we live through on a daily, we still throwing up those acorns cause we represent clickbaity. Trap squad, trap squad, trap squad. Let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad. Throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad. Yeah, I see you, yeah, I see you. Trap squad, trap squad. Trap squad, Thirsttrap. Trap squad, trap squad. Trap squad. Let me hear ya. Trap squad, trap squad. Throw those squirrels up if you with it. Trap squad, trap squad. Yeah, I see